Good Sunday morning, everybody. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo and Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up those football gods this morning. How are you guys doing on this Sunday? I hope you guys have had a great weekend. Make sure you enjoy each and every single day, because once this day is gone, you cannot get it back and you do not want to waste it. So here we are Sunday, and I hope you guys, 5 o'clock Eastern, we end up doing our Sunday afternoon without football live stream, where we basically are venting on the Dallas Cowboys and what they are or are not doing this offseason. And let's be clear, they're not doing a whole lot this offseason. You could literally take the free agents that we've signed and literally take your pocket change, and that's what we're basically paying. Pocket change. We're not going for big-name free agents. We're not making bold moves. We're them Cowboys. And it's just the way it is. We get excited about the offseason. We think that something's going to change. But the reality is Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones are not going to change. They're too old and set in their ways. And this, my friend, is the problem, of course, with the Cowboys. They do a good job with what they do, with finding the homegrown talent and keeping some of the free agents that we have and so on. They make mistakes like everybody else. It's just not enough to really get us over the hump. But maybe we'll get proven wrong this year, maybe. But in some regards, I've kind of said that it feels like the Cowboys are kind of redshirting the season. It doesn't really make sense for the Cowboys to be hoarding, and I mean they're hoarding all of their money. They are. I mean, let's be clear. We were $21 million over the cap. Here it is. We've re-signed our players and gotten rid of some of ours, and we still have $15.8 million. We'll get another 10 come June 1st, so we'll have $25 million, and I don't see where they're going to be spending all that. I mean, we got our rookie class, but that's going to take about $5 or $6 million of cap room. We'll probably get a couple of, smaller pieces in free agency, but it's not going to be major money. They'll carry over money to next year when the salary cap will be ballooning up. So I'm not sure what they're actually trying to hold on to this money for. Other teams are throwing caution in the wind and saying, damn the cap, money's coming. The bank truck is coming. Don't worry about it. We'll get it next year or the year after. Kick that money down the road. So in some regards, you could look at this and say, with the Cowboys trading Amari Cooper for a potted meat sandwich, letting Cedric Wilson, which I think is the bigger mistake of letting Cedric Wilson go. Cedric Wilson, quite frankly, if you look at the numbers of where he was last year, he was doing some damage. I mean, Cedric Wilson was only like 200 yards behind Amari Cooper as a part-time starter. But be that as it may, you could look at some of the moves that have been made and the lack of desire of signing guys that actually wanted to be here, that maybe the Cowboys are looking at having a bigger goal that's down the road, and it's not winning in 2022. Like I said, feels like this is a redshirt year. We'll get the good pieces together that we know we can get affordably. We won't spend any money. We'll be, good enough to compete and put a product on the field, but we'll be bad enough that we can blame Mike McCarthy, and then we'll have draft picks, we'll have money, and we can bring in Sean Payton. That seems to feel like what is a possibility. You have to kind of look at that, because you can't honestly look at me eye to eye, Stephen and Jerry Jones, and say, if you could take Von Miller, Bobby Wagner, and Zadarius Smith, and that you could have them signed for this year, for $10.9 million, the same amount of money that you have invested in Dalton Schultz. and we think that we're close enough to winning that you wouldn't take that chance, that you could say, with those three players on defense, I could have a lights-out defense. I could turn into the draft, and I could end up drafting the replacement wide receiver. I can get my offensive line fixed, and I would definitely be the best team in my division, and I think that I would be able to compete with the Rams. That you honestly, if you always said, just let me know how big a check I have to write to win the Super Bowl, surely $10.9 million for those guys with the team that you already had would be a big enough investment to take a risk. I wonder if Stephen Jones plays blackjack and if he's too scared to hit on a 16. Man, hey, I know the dealer's got 18 showing, but I might bust. I don't want to bust. So I'm not going to take a hit. If you're not taking a hit, you're going to lose. You don't take a chance, you're going to lose. You may take a chance. You may end up getting a 6 and lose. But the reality is, if you don't take the hit, you're going to lose anyway. That's where we are with Stephen Jones. So if the plan actually is we're tanking for Payton, there might be a problem with that, because the rumors out there of Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay to join in with Payton, Sean Payton. And if you're going for Sean Payton, it's going to cost you a couple number ones. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But here's what transpired. At least this is what the rumor mill has on the Tom Brady situation. And it was actually really close to actually happening. That a report right around the Super Bowl was that the Miami Dolphins basically were working on a deal to make Tom Brady a part owner of the team. They were going to make him a minority owner. So they're planning on bringing Tom Brady on as a minority owner, and was close to happening, and that the announcement was potentially in the works for a week that preceded the Super Bowl. So here's the plan that they had. The Dolphins were planning on first saying, Tom Brady, you're going to become a minority owner. Something that players, you'd want to own a team, especially in Miami. Are you kidding me? Unless global warming is real, in which case then it's going to be underwater. So once they got him as a minority owner, then they were going to try and work out a trade with the Buccaneers so they could have him play for the Dolphins. Now, Tom Brady's contract, this is the last year of his contract, so he could next year go to Miami. So then the second part of the plan was they were going to make a plan to trade for Sean Payton. So they probably acknowledged that they had actually reached out to the Saints. The Miami Dolphins admitted, we reached out to the Saints about a possible trade. So that ended up not working out. The thing that destroyed it was the Brian Flores lawsuit. And so it was like, we can't do this right now. However, the Brian Flores suit eventually will die down. Tom Brady will play this year. He's unretired and is playing in Tampa Bay. Sean Payton will be a year removed from being with the Saints, and it may not cost as much next year. Hold on, guys. Who let the dogs out? Mark. He's got a doggy door upstairs, but I understand he's old. It's like, why I got to walk all the way upstairs, go out the door, go down the deck, and then go down the steps to go down there, and then have to go back up. Yeah, it's like, look, get your ass up and open the door. I'll do that for an old folk. So you can see this potentially happening because you're talking about offering a player part ownership of the team. And if you're Sean Payton having, a veteran like Tom Brady, and you look at the other weapons that they have there with Tyreek Hill under contract and Cedric Wilson and things, that could be a very, very good opportunity for Sean Payton. So if the Cowboys' thoughts are, well, let's tank this year for Sean Payton, well, quite frankly, that plan may not have a chance. So this morning I got a lot of work to do in the workshop. 5 o'clock Eastern, we have our event show and stuff. I'm going to end this morning. I got to go to the grocery store and get some stuff out of the way. I got pieces I got to paint in the workshop and stuff. So it's going to be, as always, a busy day. But I want to go through, and we're going to listen to the forecast for the NFC East. Understand that the NFC East has been like no other division in football. Nobody has repeated since the 2003-2004 season as division champs. And that goes with teams that have won the Super Bowl. Nobody has. And I don't know if the Cowboys can break the curse of that or not this year. But, it's always kind of like from worst to first. So I want to listen to what Get Up has to say about the Cowboys. One note, I've listened to part of it. I haven't listened to the whole thing. One thing that's kind of interesting to me, that the narrative that the NFC East is the worst division in football. I kind of take that and say, you're kind of wrong on that one. At least the NFC East ended up having 2 teams in the playoffs. You can look at the NFC North, where it had Green Bay, and quite frankly, you could say that Green Bay's numbers were inflated because they played the Lions twice, they played the Bears twice, and they played Minnesota. Oh, I forgot, they lost to Minnesota, one time. So you could look at that and say, no other team in that division had actually even a winning record. At least the Eagles made the playoffs. And you could look at the NFC South, and only Tampa Bay made the playoffs. Are you telling me that the Carolina Panthers were a juggernaut? Are you telling me that the Atlanta Falcons are a great team? The Saints were okay when they had Jameis Winston, and they got a great defense, but sorry, the NFC East is not the worst division in football. Now, we can say the NFC West, well, that's a different story. That team, that conference, they some badass mother humpers over there. But anyway, let's go on to the tape.
With the best division. The NFC East, certainly last year it was the worst division. Right. Who's going to win that this year?
I'm going to go with the Eagles. I know it sounds crazy, and you expect me to say cousin Dak and the Cowboys, but they're losing a lot, and the Eagles are a playoff team with an outstanding offensive line, a young quarterback that's getting better, and 3 first-round picks in the top 20. So one of those picks is going to hit, right? You got to hit on one of those picks, and that's enough, I think, to win that topsy-turvy division.
Danny Graziano, that's your stomping grounds. You cover, he's doing the Fly Eagles Fly. You covered the NFC East for us for years. Is that the team to beat in your mind right now in that division?
Look, we know the Cowboys aren't going to win it because no one ever repeats as NFC East champions. It's been 18 years, and that's no coincidence. I don't think the Giants are ready, and I'm not a big Carson Wentz believer. You know who else isn't? The Eagles, because they got rid of him and went with Jalen Hurts. So yeah, I think that they have a defined offense. They know who they are. They like to run the ball. They ask Hurts to do what he can, and I think they'll beef up that defense in the draft.
Do I have D. Wood with me here? I can't see him. D. Wood, is he with us? D. Wood, is this blasphemy, as our friend Stephen A. would say? Eagles over the Cowboys in the NFC East?
No, not at all. I think the Eagles will win the NFC East. Listen, the moves coming from the Cowboys, I just don't like. You got an aging offensive line. Amari Cooper's in Cleveland. Randy Gregory, who to me is the biggest part of this whole thing, is now a Denver Bronco. I'm just not there with the Dallas Cowboys right now. I think the Eagles are on the upswing. They got a bunch of draft capital. I'm going with the Eagles.
Give me the one more, just because I think everyone here, I think I speak for everyone when I say that we all enjoyed it. Rob, when you have a moment here, you can see that Vegas still likes the Cowboys in that division. The Cowboys always get a little extra pop, especially this time of year. But I think I speak for everyone when I say we want to see one more time the Eagles fly.
Look at that wingspan.
Oh, that's at least a 5'8" wingspan.
That is a pigeon.
Intimidating.
With Jalen Hurts of it all is the part of it that I find fascinating. Does Nick Sirianni was talking over the weekend about all of how hard he's working. Is he going to be the guy there long term? Because if so, and they've got all that draft capital, that not only are they good now, they should be even better in the future.
I don't think Philadelphia thinks he's the long-term answer, but I do think that he's a serviceable quarterback right now. He's an above-average quarterback, someone that they can trust as long as they build the offense designed around the things that he does well. And I think Nick Sirianni deserves some credit, because I and other people were laughing at him this time last year, and he did a good job.
Okay, so then I'm just throwing this in there, because earlier we sort of organically arrived at a question we hadn't expected. I'm adding a name. Damian Woody. We got Jalen Hurts. We got Tua. We got Mac Jones. All the Alabama quarterbacks. If you were picking one of them right now to start your team with, absent everything else, which one you got?
Mac Jones.
He loves Mac Jones.
Yeah,
He loves Mac Jones.
I'm taking the Eagles' offensive line. I'll go with Tua.
So you chose other? Is what you're saying?
I took two. I made a choice.
How about you, Graziano?
I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's done more than the other. I like him. I like everything about that kid.
We will see. I think they do in Philly, too. We'll see what winds up happening.
Okay, enough of that. All right, so the consensus is that the Cowboys will not repeat. And see, this is where you, as a team, you have to first figure out how to win your division and then go from there. You got to be able to compete in your division, because you got 6 games that are win or lose that will truly determine what happens the rest of the season. And we'll get into that part later on. But right now, I got to get up here, get a coat of paint on, and head to the grocery store. You know how we roll. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.